Turning now to the Manhattan criminal trial of Donald Trump. Judge Juan Merchan found the former president in contempt of court for violating a gag order for the 10th time. At issue is a statement Trump made during an April 22nd interview. He said, quote, "The jury was picked so fast, 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat." Trump goes on to say it's a very unfair situation. The judge has ordered Trump to pay an additional $1,000 fine, but in the judge's own words, that's not enough. Merchan wrote in a court order Monday, "It is apparent that monetary fines have not and will not suffice to deter defendant from violating this court's lawful orders. Therefore, defendant is hereby put on notice that, if appropriate and warranted, future violations of its lawful orders will be punishable by incarceration." Here's how Trump reacted after the proceedings wrapped.
I have to watch every word I tell you people. You ask me a question, a simple question, I'd like to give it, but I can't talk about it. Because this judge has given me a gag order and said you'll go to jail if you violate it.
CBS News campaign reporter and attorney Katrina Kaufman joins me now. Katrina, 10th gag order violation. How significant is that? And of course, remind people that the way the former president characterized it is not exactly what the gag order is.
That is correct. The gag order really is meant to protect the witnesses, the jury in this case, excuse me, the court staff, their relatives, and Trump continues to violate it. This is the 10th time the judge has now held him in contempt. And with another defendant, they probably wouldn't have even let it go this far without really giving some form of jail time. But the judge knows how significant that would be and the magnitude of this. To imprison a former president, a potential future president, as he noted today. And he really doesn't want to have to take this step, but he says he has to protect the jury, the integrity of this trial, of the justice system itself. So there is a lot of gravity here.
And what's the process? Is the prosecution weighing in on this question of jail time or no jail time with respect to these violations of the gag order?
So far at the hearings, the prosecution specifically has not asked for jail time. At the first one, they wanted the judge to remind Trump that jail was on the table. At the last one, they said they just wanted to stick with the $1,000 fines because they acknowledged that it would be disruptive to the proceedings. We can only imagine how Trump would react, the spectacle it could create, how his supporters might take it. So I think they all just realize what's going on both inside the courtroom and how it might affect the tone outside of the court.
So that's what's happening on the sidelines. What about what's happening in the actual field? There was, in fact, testimony today. What happened?
So today we actually got to the business records part of this case, which were on week 4, and it was, interestingly, the first day that we were talking about them with Jeff McConney, who was the former controller of the Trump Organization, and then Deborah Tarasoff, who handled payroll. So we finally learned about what happened behind the scenes, how these reimbursement payments to Michael Cohen came about at the organization. We heard about how Alan Weisselberg, who was the former CFO of the Trump Organization, instructed McConney to pay Cohen back. He detailed the monetary breakdown of that, how it was going to be done in monthly payments, and very importantly, that it had to come out of Trump's personal bank account. And McConney talked about how they had to create a whole new process to send these checks to the White House because Trump had to sign them himself, back to the Trump Organization and on to Michael Cohen. And Deborah Tarasoff had an interesting detail, which is she said Trump never signs a check he doesn't want to. If he sees a check he doesn't want to sign, he's known for just taking a black Sharpie, writing void on it, and sending it back. So that really shows that he did, in fact, acquiesce and approve of these checks to Michael Cohen. So we're really starting to see the establishment of the falsification of business records scheme, and the jury saw a lot of documentation of that today, the invoices, the checks, who signed them, Donald Trump's signature on them, and he's really getting more connected to this.
Katrina Kaufman with the details. Great to have you again. Thanks,
Thank
Katrina.
you.